Dear students, good morning to you all. I am Dr. Gopala Sudarshanam, Senior Assistant Professor of Commerce, working at Government Degree and PG College, Gajwel. Today, I welcome you all to this video lesson presentation on organizational culture and development. In fact, this concept is directly included in the syllabus of organizational behavior subject meant for the BBA second year, fourth semester students. But all become general computer application and other commerce student can also have this content in their syllabus in their particular areas. So now let us have an idea about what is organizational culture and development. In this connection, I made the presentation layout as under. We will discuss the introductory part about organizational culture and development, meaning and definition of them, various types of organizational culture, characteristics of organizational culture, benefits of good organizational culture, how to strengthen the organizational culture, and the second part is regarding organizational development, its managing process, interventions of organizational development, objectives, problems, and process of organizational development. Finally, effectiveness of organizational development. These things we will discuss in today's presentation. See, if you look at the slide, the saying of Funkhauser and R. Ritty, you can find that in any organization there are the ropes. There are the ropes to skip and the ropes to know. So that when you to skip from the organization as well as to go up to the organization, you have the ropes. Those ropes may be in a broader sense attributed to the organizational culture. But if you look at the definitions of the organizational culture, you can find it. Organization is the unique dominant pattern of shared beliefs. Any culture of an organization is the unique dominant pattern. Every organization will have its own pattern of shared beliefs, assumptions, values, and norms. Norms means rules and regulation that shape the socialization, symbols, language, and practices of a group of people. Remember, a group of people is termed as organization. That organization will have a culture, its quality, I mean, the culture quality, degree, applicability, maybe vary from organization to organization. Hence why culture is the unique dominant pattern in every organization. You take whether it is a small or big or medium size, whether it is a government organization or private organization, maybe it is a formal organization or informal organization. Every organization is encompassed with certain elements, components. There may be shared beliefs, assumptions, values, and norms. Those things can shape the socialization process of that particular organization and symbolizes the organization. Means we can make it as that organization is meant for that. It has this symbol, this uniqueness, this landmark. Those can be reflected with the culture of that organization only. And that organization will have set of regulations which are put together known as norms. So these beliefs of organization, assumptions, their values, and rules and regulations that shape the socialization, symbols, language, and practice of a particular group of people known as organization. The attitudes and approaches that the way staff carry out their tasks is also part of culture. When the people are working in an organization, the way they behave, Means the attitude, the way they behave with the machinery, other people, employers, system at large, and the way staff carry out their tasks. What is the procedure they are adopting? What are the ethics they are equipping? So these are all togetherly form the culture of the organization. So that culture is developed and transmitted by people consciously and unconsciously to subsequent generation. This is very important. Culture is not either originated or evolved or developed in a vacuum or in the forest or in any unknown place. That can be made by, the cultures can be developed by and transmitted from one generation to another generation by people only. And this transmission and development may take place either consciously or unconsciously, but that will be held by the people those are associated with the organization. Then if you look at this slide, you can understand and you can have a clear picture about the organizational culture. Organization culture is nation of beliefs, assumptions, values, and attitudes of the people associated with the organization. Remember that people just not to be restricted to the employees. They may be the employees, employers, and other stakeholders like debtors, creditors, and trade unions, and the people who have either directly or indirectly an association with the organization. Whatever they believe, whatever they have their practices and conventions. Beliefs is a broad term that includes traditions, conventions, habits, practices. These are all are part of culture only. Similarly, the assumption. When you undertake an endeavor, when you take up a task, what are your assumptions? Based on which objectivity you are taking up the task. The values, it includes ethics, work procedure, rules and regulations that you design and follow, and attitude, that is the way you behave with the others, the way you behave in absence of the your superiors or your supervisors. This is all togetherly called organizational culture. So if you look at the iceberg of the organizational culture, you will find it. The things that you can see, if you see the iceberg, the outer side, which is very visible to the all, are practices, language, and symbols. But under the water, under the ocean, you can find norms, values, and assumptions, but they are not so visible to the outsiders. So that your culture will have observable elements and non-observable element. For example, when you speak with others, when you interact with your colleagues, and the way you behave in your family, so your way of speaking and behaving the people, your attitude and values you have encompassed with you, some may be observable, some may be not observable. So that the observable elements of the culture can be taken as your practices, policies, procedures, the language you speak with others, the symbols you use when you want to wish somebody else, the way, the gesture you use. You may wish like it, you may wish like this, you may welcome like this. This symbol indicates the culture you reflect. But instead of that, if you use a hard gestures and pressurized one with a frustrative gestures, then that can reflect your culture. There are some not observable elements also, like your norms, values, ethics, beliefs, isn't it? Assumptions, those are inside your inner feelings, internal characteristics. So they cannot be seen, but they can enable others to judge your value. So that the culture of an organization is the combination of observable elements and non-observable element. Then values and norms. What do you mean by values? Values are the basic beliefs people hold that specify general preferences and behaviors and define what is the right and what is the wrong. The cultural values are reflected in a society are morals, customs, and established practices. So every organization maybe started with an intention of rendering service, or gaining profit, or expanding its origin, that can have a set of values and norms. So one must be very clear about these two terms, and there is a slight difference. So first, let me give you a brief picture of values. Values are the basic beliefs. Those are followed by the people, hold specifically, and their preferences, their behaviors, and easy to define what is wrong and what is right. Such are values, and these values can be reflected through the society's morals, customs, and certain predetermined, obsessed means already established practices. Norms mean the other hand, the norms are rules that govern behavior of the group of people. These are mandatory things. They can regulate. See, if you take a student in the classroom, the values is when a teacher is presenting a lecture, attending the classes sincerely, and not making a noise, and respecting the others' privacy. This is our values. The norms, the rules and regulations to attend the class. You must be the student of that class, and you have to fulfill all the required conditions of the institution to the college as well as to shift into the class. So these are the rules, regulations that can be governed by the institution. That even that can be govern the behavior of the people and group of people. Then symbols, as we said, these are all our part. Your values, norms, attitude, behavior, isn't it? And symbols, these are all part of the culture only. That may be organizational culture or individual culture. Of course, all individuals' culture cumulatively called as organizational culture, wherein they are working. So, what is symbol? A symbol is any visible object, a symbol, a picture, a image, a gesture is any visible object or act or event that conveys meaning to others. The symbols, what do you mean by symbol? The symbol is, if somebody, people say this to wish a symbol, this is a symbol of wishing. This is a symbol of shaking hand. This is a symbol of thumb. This is a symbol of clap. So that symbol is any visible object, is a physically shaped. It can seen by the others. It is an act. It is an event. The smile itself is a symbol that conveys meaning to the others. For example, if you make a clap, what it convey to the others? That you are applauding others. You are praising others. If you hold hands like this, you are wishing them. You are sending the gesture of wish to them. And if you say like this, you are wishing him to success somebody's endeavor. So that symbol is any visible object or act, the way you behave, or an event. Event means you may thumb the drums when somebody trump the game, win the game, conquer the battle. That is also convey the meaningful message to others. For example, artifacts, dress, office layout is a symbol, the symbol of a particular organization layout. You look at that symbol, you can identify easily this is the Tata company, that is Indian Airlines, that is the Reliance company, that is Apollo Hospital. If you take the symbol of Apollo Hospital, you can find it, isn't it? This is HCL company laptop. So that can be easily identified by that symbol. This is the symbol of Samsung phone, like that. So that slogans, sometimes based on the slogans, we will identify the organization, and the information, the style of slogan can reflect the culture of the organization. Similarly, ceremonies, these are all part of the symbols, and Subsequently, those are the integral part of the organizational culture. Then, what are the types of organizational culture? The basic types of organizational culture are bureaucratic, clan means a race, market, or entrepreneurial. Yeah, means remember the organizational culture can be subdivided into four parts: bureaucratic, administrative people, top level people; clan, the group where you are working, or your department people; the marketing department, market people; and entrepreneurial cultures. But remember, the beliefs, the attitude, the rules and regulations and values, ethics of one type of organization cannot be similar with the uh, another type of organization. As I said in the beginning itself, the organizational culture is a unique phenomenon for each and every organization. They need not to be similar. They need not to resemble the other organization also. Then what are the characteristics of organizational culture? Broadly, we can divide the characteristics of organizational culture into following six. Look at the slide, you can find them. Number one, observed. So how can you identify organizational culture? That particular, if you take organization means here is a family, your own family or somebody's family you take. In that family, a few people live in them. And how to identify, how to make a statement that family is with good values, good ethics. The people of that family are value centered. How can you say? Number one is observed behavioral regularities. So, by your observation of their behavior regularities, how they are behaving, how they are dealing the issues with the others, what is their inter or intra discussions, communications, relationships, and approaches. So these you can observe, and that you can make a statement. Their culture is this way. Their culture is positive and aggressive, negative, like that. And the second, so the first characteristics of the organizational culture is observed behavioral regularities. The organizational culture can be identified by the behavioral regularities, consistency in your attitude, your practices. That's all. Next, second characteristics is philosophy on treatment of employees and customers. What is the philosophy of that organization in connection with treating its employees and customers? How they are behaving with its employees as well as its customers? Are they respecting the values of the employees and customers? How services they are rendering? How they are taking the safety and welfare measures towards their employees? And what is the employee and employer relationship pattern? And what are the satisfaction levels of employees and customers? Based on this, we can make a judgment and a statement. We can design the layout of the organizational culture of any particular organization. So the philosophy of treatment of employees and its customers is another characteristics of a organizational culture. Then rules of employee behavior. What are the rules you have designed? What are the rules you have incorporated, set to regulate, to monitor, to organize, to coordinate employee behavior? Whether they are employee friendly rules, autocratic rules, and distressing rules, and humiliating the employees. So, how friendly your rules are, how amicable the rules of your organization. That is also one of the characteristics of organizational culture. Next, organizational climate, the environment, the atmosphere of the organization, the ambience of the organization, work ambience and relationship ambience, and the communication system, ambience of communication itself. These are all part of the organizational climate. The approach, grievance addressing mechanism, that is all part of organizational climate. Next, dominant values. What are the various kind of dominant values? and what are the center of your values, the whether your values are employee centered, service centered, safety centered, market centered, customer orientated, government approached, bureaucratic supportive. What is the dominant value you have designed? Then norm, the rules and regulations you have designed to regulate your organization, the attitude and attribution and approach of the people those are associated with your organization. These are all togetherly called as characteristics of organizational culture. So to understand and identify any organization's culture, these are the points you have to remember. Number one is observed behavioral regularities, philosophy of treatment of employees and customers, rules of employee behavior, organizational climate, and dominant values, and rules and regulations called norms of that organization. Then, do organizations have uniform cultures? In the beginning itself, we discussed that the organization cultures or the elements of organizational culture need not to be uniform or similar to all organizations. Every organization will have own and independent, unique set of organizational culture. But still, based on the research and development in the area of organizational culture and development, we can make three broad concepts toward the organizational cultures and their uniformity. The dominant culture, core values, and subcultures. These three can define whether organizations will have uniform cultures or ununiformed cultures. Core values will be there. Every organization will have certain core values. They cannot be similar with the other kind of organizations. Some subcultures will be there, like payment of salaries to employees on every first. That may be followed by the other organization also. So there are kind of uniformity between A and B organization. Core values. What is the core value? There is a vision and mission of, certainly it will be unique to each and every organization. So there will not be any uniformity in this regard. And dominant culture. Some organizations will have their own authenticity and authoritarian. Such can also be not uniform at all. But remember, certain organizations, you take police, military, there a kind of uniformity will be there because they can dominate, they will have a dominant culture. Like educational institutions, the promoting education itself is their core value. In that way, organization will have some uniformity in their beliefs, values, and attitudes of the people in that organization. So that taking these three elements, we can say whether there is a uniformity among the cultures of the organization or not. What are these three? Dominant culture, core values, and subculture. Then, how employees learn culture? Because it is the replication of quality of any organization. That must be remembered. If an organization's culture means its values, its ethics, the attitude of the people associated with the organization, beliefs, norms that reflect the functioning and its ability and value of organization. Hence, those can be reflected by the employees. Then how employees learn the culture of the organization and how it is reinforced among them. Remember, the culture of any organization, that may be industry, that may be bank, that may be your own family, that may be a classroom, the people have to learn the organizational culture. And if not, organization has to reinforce that amount of culture among them. They have to inculcate, they have to nurture that values, that cultural things among the people associated with the organization. How? Number one, by telling the stories, anecdotes, and actual stories of the organization. Of course, failure stories of the organization. How the organization has been evolved from the inception to at this elated stage, the story should be explained. For example, when we want to teach a student in the classroom about the ethics, values, morals, we'll bring them the stories. We will bring into the classroom about the talks of the Vivekananda and what is the hard work laid on with the Steve Jobs to make his company, Apple company, rich. What are the values the Bill Gates is following? Like that, different stories we will bring, the success stories we will bring into them. Rituals by observing some occasions and customs, tradition, celebrating the events. Like that also we can uh, infuse the amount of values, the cultures among the employees and material symbols. The having material symbols and installing them in the premises of the organization and the language you use, that is very important. And many a times the culture of a person, culture of an organization reflected by the language you use. For example, when a teacher speaks with the students, if you call with a boy and a bidda and my son, come here. Instead of that, if you use a vulgar language, harsh language, if you curse against the student, certainly students can have a kind of a negative opinion over the teacher. So they will have that teacher is not so good. So the culture of that language you are using, foul language, objectionable language you are using, can restrict you and they can restrain you to elevate from your way. So that the employees have to learn culture from the stories or anecdotes of the organization or the things, rituals, those are observed. Even in our families also, we will celebrate different kinds of rituals, festivals, occasions, very conventionally, very poisely. By that, our young generation and our children can learn it, so how to respect it. If you are able to wish the elders your way, your children follows your footprints. So this is the incorporation of culture among the employees. Then what will be the benefits of good organizational culture, right? If organization have very good organizational facility and values, what benefits it can reap? What will be benefited? The strong organizational culture can get three kind of benefits to the any kind of organization. Number one, social control. Even a kind of frustration, anxiety, dissatisfaction prevails, that can be regulated, minimized, passive if that organizational culture already established is good and best, then the people can respect it. And social glue and aids in sense making, assist in the sense making. These are the three big benefits you will have by effective organizational culture. Then, if organizational culture is strong, what happens? If organizational culture is weak, what happens? This is the difference between the strong versus weak cultures. If you have in strong and weak culture, just you make this slide and you can understand it. Intensify the core values, commitment to core values widely shared, and high behavioral control and low employee turnover. If you have the strong organizational culture, what happens? Intensify the core values. Your values, the core values of the organization, vision and mission of the organization, perceptions of the organization can be intensified, highlighted, boosted, and reinforced. And if your organizational culture is very strong, the another thing is commitment to core values. The employees, the people working in the organization, or the people connected with the organization will commit to the core values of the organization. They do not deviate. They cannot disrespect the uh, organization and its values because it has a strong organizational blend base. If it is weak, no intensification of core values. People do not respect them. They cannot spread the core values. And even the people's commitment to our core values will also be very less when your organizational culture is weak. Similarly, high behavioral control. Remember, if a teacher, if a lecturer is with strong organizational culture values, Means if a teacher is with good attributes like attitude, his attitude is good, he has a very good belief system, he respects the values, he has a very good personality and perception, and teach well in the classroom, altogether he is a gentleman, then students can have a kind of respect with him, highly elated respect the teacher will get, because high behavioral control, just by looking at him student will be get attention, they can get self discipline. When student need not to announce that make noise, don't make noise, be calm, attend to the lecture, you need not to say, just he step into the classroom, looking at him, people, students can get silent themselves and attentive and just look at to his presentation because of his culture. So that the high behavioral control will be the result of a strong organization. And if organization has a very good culture, strong organizational culture, then employee don't want to leave the organization, even though are paid less, low paid employees. If they go for another organization, their salaries may boost, increase, but still, as they are very much happy with the organizational culture of this organization, they will be retained with the organization only. When there is a strong organizational culture, but it is weak, there will be more employee turnover. For every few months, many employees may leave the organization. So then how to strengthen the organizational culture? To strengthen the organizational culture, these 5 things can be considered more. Number 1, founders and leaders. The founders of the organizations and the people who have established the organization or initiated the organization and the people who are leading the organization should be first set of values, ethics. If they are strong, they can strengthen the organizational culture in the organization. Unless they follow, they do not implement, they do not incorporate such beliefs in the organization. Second one, culturally consistent rewards. The reward system or the award system of the organization should be culturally consistent. When you are announcing the rewards, the cash prize to the employees, merit scholarships to the people, students, you must be free from the bias, nepotism, and vested interest. Then people can respect it. Yes, those who have a very consistent reward system, merit is prevailing. So that the culture, so that you can strengthen the organizational culture of the organization. Next, stable workforce. The workforce should not be frequently disturbed. There should not be very labor turnovers. They should be happy. Employees should be happy. Work with the organization for a long time. This is one of the contributing element of the strong organizational culture in any organization. Managing the cultural network, selection and socialization process. These are all togetherly contribute for strengthening the organizational culture in any organization. So students, before we switch over to the part B of this presentation, we must remember that in any organization, organizational culture plays very important and indispensable role to its richness and to make it as more strong and strengthened organizations, so that the culture, the components of organizational culture like values, norms, attitudes, and other things, beliefs must be reflected with the organization progress and even respected for organization's growth and development. Then let us go to the organizational development. What is organizational development? See, the 3 basic components of organizational development programs are: number 1, diagnosis, action, and program management. These 3 are the basic components of any organizational development program. What is diagnosis? Continuous collection of data about total system, its subunits, its process, and its culture. And action: after collecting the data regarding its total system, its activities, its culture, its events and policies and all, then it has to enter into the action. That all activities and interventions designed to improve the organizational functioning is called action. Third one is program management. All such activities are designed to ensure success of the program. Then organizational development interventions. Organization development intervention techniques are the methods created by OD professionals and others. Organizational development professionals and others. Single organization or consultant cannot use all the interventions. They use these interventions depending upon the need or requirement. So the most important interventions are, so to design, to make the organizational development as an effective mechanism of any organization, there are certain interventions. What are the interventions of the organizational development? Some techniques, methods, approaches. See, these techniques, methods, or methodology or approaches of organization regarding what? The methods of recruiting, selection, functioning, the techniques of evaluating the employees' abilities, contribution, and analysis of organization's efficiency, effectiveness, progress. These all will have some interventions. Those are called techniques, methods, and approaches. These three togetherly called intervention. In any organizational development, these three interventions play as a premier and prominent pillars. And apart to them, these three broadly again subdivided into sub other interventions. Those are divided as under survey feedback, process consultation, sensitivity training, the managerial grid, goal setting and planning, team building and management by objectives, MBO, and job enrichment, change in organizational structure, participative management, quality circles, total quality management, and ISOs. These are all organizational development interventions only. Organizational development is not the development just looking at the layout of its building or it's a graph of otherwise balance sheets itself. It is also gogged by following interventions, as we just said out. Then objectives of the organizational development. According to Somil Caesar, the objectives of organizational development is listed as under. Why organizational development? If there is no organizational development, what happens? What for we are designing organizational development? The organizational development is very much required to increase the level of interpersonal trust among the employees. The interpersonal, department to department, person to person, section to section, there should be a level among the people. To promote, to increase the trust, there should be, the organization will set its objectivity, and to increase employees' level of satisfaction and commitment, to confront problems instead of neglecting them. If there are problems in the organization, you have to fight with them, you have to confront with them. What are the differences? How to locate them, how to deviate them, and how to address them should also be addressed by the organizational development mechanism and its effective interventions. To effectively manage conflict and to increase cooperation among the employees, to increase the organizational problem solving, to put in place process that will help improve the organizing operations of the organization on continuous process. Then what are the problems in organizational development? Discrepancy between ideal and real situation. See, in organizational development, what happens is the very difficulty. The ideas will be there and reality will be different. We will have certain goals, some ideas, but when you look into the picture, when we enter into the organization, the real circumstances may be differ with the ideas that we have set. So there will be a little mismatch between the ideal and situation. That is a problem in any organizational development that must be addressed with appropriate solutions and strategies. Lack of open system. See, when there is anything to discuss, those are not openly discussed in the organizational development. Those are at the top level only, strategic level only. Lower level people very oddly involved in the open debating system. Resistance to change from bottom to top, any change want to incorporate in the organization, introduce in the organization, initially it is resisted. It is a negative, get negative responses. So that can be one of the hurdles of the organizational development. Lack of among the members, the motivational sessions and encouraging the employees to accept the change and making the members be positive and reinforce themselves towards the growth and development of the organization is very less. The motivational initiations are very less in the organizations and costly programs sometimes. This is the process of organizational development. And just you look at the slide and take the steps. In our next class we'll have more elaborative presentation. It can involve the 5 steps in the process of organizational development, like first problem identification, second data collection, third data diagnosis, fourth one is planning and implementation, fifth one is evaluation and feedback. See, these are the steps involved in any organizational development. So that the organizational development, which is a planned approach to improve its efficiency as well as to support the effectiveness of the organization, it should have a mechanism of the organizational development. So the organizational development is a process, stage by stage job. First, we will identify a problem that occurs in the organization. Then to address that problem, we will connect the data and we can diagnosis, verify, classify and summarize that data. Then we will design some plans to implement the effective strategy. Then the outcome of that strategy will be evaluated through collecting the feedback. If it is good, that will be continued. If not, again we start from the alternative thing right from the problem identification process. Then finally, for to make more effective the organizational development, these are the points to be underlined. The humanistic underline of the organizational development, some points have been advised. Number one, providing opportunities for people to function as human beings rather than as resources in the productive process. Providing opportunities for rich organization members as per the organization itself to develop to its full potential, seeking to increase the effectiveness of the organization in terms of all its goals, attempting to create an environment in which it is possible to find exciting and challenging work, and providing opportunities to people in organization to influence the way in which they relate to work, the organization and the environment, and treating each human being as a person with a complex set of needs, all of which are important in his or her work of life. These are the things contribute for the effectiveness of the organizational development. So today by this video lesson, we learn in detail about the organizational culture, the components of the organizational culture, what it contributes, how to strengthen it, and if what is the strong and strong versus weak organizational culture. After that, if a strong set of organizational culture, how it to the organizational development, what are the steps involved in the organizational development, and what is the effectiveness of the organizational development. These things we have learned today. In the next class we will find more other talks. Thank you very much.